Well, welcome to the Stone Roadie podcast. It's the one you don't want to miss. It stars Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, and Griff, the rocket scientist. Let's not forget Kathy Godsey and all the old friends that come along. Lord, we'll be talking Skynyrd and leaving you with a song.
Podcast 101, action. All righty then, looky here. This is podcast number 101 of the Stoned Roadie Show, and my name's Craig Reed, aka the Stoned Roadie, and this is my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. And today we had Mark Howard scheduled to come on with us on the Stone Roadie Show. We're going to talk a little bit about the memorial service down there in Mississippi here coming up next week. And while we were on here trying to get Mark's equipment together, because he hasn't been doing a podcast, he's got his own podcast he does, but he just said he hasn't been doing it here for couple of months. He's got to get back on it. But while we were kind of jibber jabbering and he was getting his equipment together, MITCH SCOOBY, my old bus driver, called and we had him on, and he was telling us some jokes, and we said, hey Mitch, you want to come on with us and fill in the space down there, because the way I'm looking at it, I'm looking at two on the top and two on the bottom, but Mitch, he's looking at it four abreast, and I got Mitch under me, and I got Mark under Griff, but he's got it all catty cornered. So I'd introduce you like that, but under me, you can just wave. We got MITCH SCOOBY. Yeah, that's my old bus driver. Some of y'all already know Mitch. And then under Griff, that's Mark Howard there. Mark Howard, yeah.
Hey, man. Howdy, hi there.
He's one of the survivors of the Lynyrd Skynyrd airplane crash here, October 20th, 1977. And he was... Mark and me were actually in the same seat when the plane went down, and we were the two of us. When you hear about everybody that was playing cards, everybody claims they were playing cards on that plane. Actually, it was me and Mark and Ron Eckerman and Steve Lawler. Yeah, we were the four that were playing cards, but. Yeah, me and Mark were in the same seat, pointed backwards, and he was sitting by the window, and I was sitting in the aisle. But anyways, we'll get all into that. Griff's got some stuff he wants to talk about he's got some information about the event coming up here next week, and then at the end, I got a little interesting story that happened to me when I come out of the Kathy Godsey's talked about places you might meet the Stoned Roadie in Green, Ohio. One of them is at the Giant Eagle, and I come out of the Giant Eagle, and I was approached by a homeless person sitting there, and I got an interesting story at the end of this, and I actually brought him home, and he was a big boy, man. He was about 6'4" and about 400 pounds. He was a size 4X, and I ended up giving him two pair of New Balance tennis shoes and two pair of clean socks. I mean, this dude was hurting, man, and anyway, I got a story at the end of this, and I think Mitch wants to have got a little kind of funny thing he wants to tell. But hey, Griff, why don't you tell us here what's going on with the memorial thing down there? You've been talking to Dwayne Easley and everybody down there, so yeah, let's hear about that next, and I'll quit jibber jabbering here.
Yeah, well, anyway, I'd like to thank
everybody for their donations. And there's a new guy up there, Terry Lunsford. He put some money, and we appreciate you, Terry. And maybe Craig will go over that later. But I got some stuff to go over.
About that. Excuse me. Let me interrupt here.
Yeah, you're going to go over that now?
We don't rehearse or nothing. Yeah. I actually had to make a special board here because our donations have kind of dried up. You guys have been really generous with the donations. We actually have accumulated about $18,000 so far, and we've given away 15,000 of that, and we hadn't got any real things in the post office box here. And Griff actually told me that Terry Lunsford sent in $50, and so we like to acknowledge everybody that has sent in a donation, and that's awful nice of you. And I guess Terry kind of said something about he hated that he only sent $50 because all these people are sending in all these thousands of dollars and stuff. But I've said before, we didn't start this to do the donations. That was people said that they'd like to start contributing along with the subscriptions that we do, because we're only doing a little over $200 a month in subscriptions, and it would take us quite a while to get up enough money to give these people the kind of support that they really need at this time. I know Mark just had his leg amputated here a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure he could use a little more support. He could. We've given him $3,000 so far, and he's really appreciated that. But what I want to say is, we didn't start this for donations, and some of you have been apprehensive not to send in any money because you couldn't send in like the big contributors up there. But hey, like I said before, man, if you can send in $10, if you can send in $20, anything you can afford. We didn't start this for donations, and I'm not trying to drum up people to send in donations, but man, it sure hopes. So if we could get 1,000 people to send in $10, man, that's quite a chunk of money we could divide with these people, and it's not a lot to ask, but it is just totally, out of, they're just totally voluntary, not trying to pull anybody's leg, but you can just send those to P.O. Box 442, Green, Ohio, 44232, and all right, that ought to settle that score. So, all right, Griff, sorry I left that out. I got brain damage, and from that plane crash, but anyways, okay, let's just roll with this then.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to mention is it's sure good to see Mark Howard back here on the airwaves again. We missed you, buddy, and we're glad that you're doing good and that you came out of the hospital and you're feeling better. And it's I think Mark said they kicked him out of therapy though, because he did something and got kicked out of there, which that those people hurt you in there. So I can see why
he
Mark
made a comment to a nurse. That's what he done. He's that just means he's feeling good.
Something about getting a hot tub. I will if you get in here with me or something.
Well, they have no sense of humor whatsoever.
But anyway, I just wanted to go over some stuff that the board at the monument relayed to me, and so the people that are coming will kind of have an idea what's going on. And everybody needs to know that the event is totally free. It's the monument in Gillsburg, October 20th, and we're hoping everybody will be there. It's going to be totally free parking. It's going to start the 20th event at 12 noon until the candlelight vigil, which is at dusk, is when that's starting to happen. And everybody bring your cell phone and turn it on, and we're going to have a lot of people with their candle lights up. So, we're just supporting the monument, and it's going to be pretty cool. Everybody doing that at one time. Then the band's going to play from noon to 2. So get there early because you're going to want to, park reasonably close if you can. So if everybody gets there early, it'll be a big traffic jam. So just get there. And then also bring a chair. You want to bring a chair because there's nowhere to sit. So you have to bring a chair. And there's going to be a food truck there. There'll be T-shirts for sale. Make sure you bring cash because we don't know if we're going to have internet and the card readers are going to be working. So you want to make sure you bring some cash also. So the activities that are going on is going to be a meet and greet. There's going to be music, of course, a guitar giveaway and the unveiling of the new granite carving with Ronnie Van Zan and the poem that Gene Odom wrote on the back. And then after that, the Palace Theater in Macomb, there's going to be some bands playing there. So you'll be able to go down there. I didn't even know that place existed until yesterday. So as far as getting there, we'll make sure that people there know how to get there. If you got any questions, there'll be plenty of people there to answer questions and things like that. So another thing too, a little news, and I can thank Tina D. Williams. She's actually a friend of mine, a bass player girl, who sent me a little message that about the people that bought the Hell House property over there. I don't know if you guys know anything about that. It was up for sale. Of course, Adam Hartle, the guy that owned it, and he had the historical plaque there out by the creek there where Ronnie used to fish and by the dock, and that got removed. I don't know. I think I heard somebody said Johnny Van Zant had that. I don't know for sure, but anyway, Rich and Lori Gocher purchased that property, and I think they're gonna build a house there. But they did say they're gonna pull that dock out of there, and they're gonna take the wood and they're gonna store it to make sure that they keep it, and whatever happens to it, I'm sure they'll figure out something nice to do with that wood. So, and then the 21st, though, at the monument, which I didn't mention, it's basically the same as the 20th, but the band starts at 1:00, and there's not going to be a candlelight vigil there. So on the 21st, so it's plenty to do out there at the monument when you guys get out there. And the main thing is there's going to be a lot of people there. And Mark, you're going to try to make it, right?
I am going to try to make it. And a lot of times we spend a lot of our time down at the pavilion, and we bring our guitars and we sit around and jam a little bit. So it's always a lot of fun to go there. And those of you that have never been there, you're in for a treat because it's really worth the trip. And it's an amazing place. You'll enjoy it very much. So come on.
Yeah. And it's just a beautiful area out there. Couldn't pick a better place for a plane crash, it's very peaceful, and it's a pine forest, and, it's back in the country, and it's a nice drive getting back there. But, there's bugs and mosquitoes and things like that. And we also have been watching the weather because it's been pretty dry. So we want to have to mind our cigarette smoking and throwing matches and things down on the ground because we don't want to start any fires there. But so that's about all we got then for the information for the monument. You guys got to stick around for the end of the podcast because Craig with the homeless guy, I've seen it, and it's pretty hilarious. I mean, the guy was pretty drunk, Craig, right?
Well, I was trying to go live with the guy, and I've never went live, so I always try to do something new. But I tried to go live with the guy, and I went through YouTube, and then I tried to fill out all the stuff, and I went through the title, and his name was Timmy. It was funny. This was a big old boy, man, and you'll see it in the thing. He's got bruises on his knuckles, where he had just been in a fight. He just got released from prison, and he was a big old boy, but he was like a teddy bear, man. He was there. I don't know why he got in all this trouble, but yeah, he had to get. Every time I suggested we go to someplace and act, because I gave him some money, and I asked him if he was hungry, and he goes, no, he was drunk, and so I gave him $20, and and he said, you know what I'm going to do with this? He said, I'm going to go get biscuits and gravy. And that just cracked me up. I goes, man, Timmy, I'll go get you biscuits and gravy, and I'll even eat with you, So I'm trying to take him down to Walmart and get him something to wear, man. But boy, the 4X, man, I didn't have nothing there, nowhere near big enough to give him, man. But he needed a couple. He needed shoes, and he said he needed socks. I goes, man, it looks like those dang shoes you got are way too big. What size are they? He goes, 13. I goes, what size do you wear? He goes, oh, 10 or 11. I goes, and that, so I got a bunch of pair of shoes around here. So I said, what kind of shoes you want? He goes, just black. So I had a couple of pair of black New Balance. I gave him some socks, and and I kept telling him I wanted to take him down to Walmart or Kohl's or right down there and buy him a sweatshirt, and he kept just wanting to hang around here. He kept calling me, after he walked in my house and seen all the gold albums and stuff, he goes, you're famous, and he was calling me greatness. I goes, Timmy, damn it, Timmy, my name's Craig. He was funny, but he was drunk, and he was a little incoherent. But I'm sorry I got off on a tangent. But I tried to be Griff, I said, oh, I'm going to be the co-host here, and I'm just going to interview Timmy, and he wasn't cooperating very well,
He looked like he just got out of the hospital. He had two hospital bands on his wrist.
He just got out of prison. I mean, I come out of okay, let me finish this story here. I came out of the Giant Eagle, man, and this guy, and I'm walking out, and not many homeless people hang out here in Green, especially at the Giant Eagle. Ain't nobody gonna help you there, and he kind of said something to me, and I just kind of ignored him and went to my car, and I drove away. I went, man, that dude didn't look like, it's cold out, man. And I said, that dude didn't look like he had on a coat, or he's in a t-shirt. I went, man, that sucks, I mean, I didn't even acknowledge that guy as a human being, and it bothered me, and so I went up the road, and I said, I got to go back, and I went to turn around, and I went, no, and then I went a little bit further. I go, you get those feelings, you just got to do something. So I turned around and went back to the guy. I goes, man, what you need? He goes, I need a coat or a sweater or something, I said, I guess, what's your story, man? He goes, I just got out of prison, and he seemed all right, so I said, get in, man. So I drove him home, and I didn't realize that I didn't really have anything big enough for him, but I did give him a pair of shoes, and we sit here, and finally I said, well, come on, let's go. I got to find you, where you're going to hang out or whatever tonight. He wanted to go to a hospital and he wanted me to check him into the Timken hospital. And he said he'd get thrown out every place in Akron already, but, and we were going down the expressway, and he said he wanted biscuits and gravy. And I goes, oh, there's a Cracker Barrel. He goes, oh, there's a T&A truck stop over there. He said, pull in over there. He said, I'll get biscuits and gravy there. And he says, I'll be able to hitch a ride to Tennessee from there. And I went, oh, okay, cool, man. So I took him over there and dropped him off and gave him $40 more, man. And then, said, man, good luck, so.
When I was watching the video of Craig with that guy, and I was thinking to myself, he could just rip Craig's head off and just throw it to the side,
I'm a toothpick compared to that guy.
And then I said, Craig, what would you have done if he had attacked you, And he said, well, I got that O.J. Simpson knife beside me over here, and he said I was ready with it. that knife that cousin Figel sent you, right? That O.J.
I can't
Simpson.
understand why the boy got so much trouble, man. I mean, he got thrown out of every place in Akron. Just got out of. You can see his knuckles. He's got.
Was he wanting to go to rehab again somewhere?
He said first. He said he wanted to go to the hospital and go to rehab.
But did you tell him that
truck
doesn't
stop? He went, man. He said he was from Tennessee. I don't know. He was talking about being with the Hells Angels, and said, "You're protected now. I'm with the Hells Angels." And telling me about knowing Justin Timberlake. He was out there, man. He was hard to interview.
Craig, did you tell him that rehab doesn't work?
It was pretty funny, but I don't know anybody. Hey, Mitch, you got a little story you want to share with us, or something humorous, or something? You always got something funny to talk about.
Just real quick, if somebody wants to send money in to help out, and they do a check, who should make a check out to? Craig Reed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Either that or Survivor Films.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I was looking at it, thinking about it, and that came to mind.
It goes into my Survivor Films account. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. Cool. I'm just I'm curious. Plus, I'm sure some of the other folks might want to know. So, who do I make it out to? So that answers that.
Oh, it's Craig Reed, P.O. Box 442.
Make checks out to Craig Reed, and don't let him bounce.
Survivor Films. Don't matter.
Yeah, and I just want to say thanks to everybody, as well, watching and supporting the podcast and chipping in to help out. I mean, when I first got on the road, I remember somebody had gotten hurt that was out with us, and one of the guys was passing around a baseball hat, and they said, "Well, just throw some money in there for so and so." I said, "Well, who is so and so?" It's one of the crew guys got hurt. We're collecting money to get him home, so to pay for a plane ticket and everything. He'll have enough money to pay for his plane ticket to get back. Because, back in the 80s, it was just kind of like there was no written rule of who was taking care of who, if somebody did get hurt. So that's what we did back then. But I think it's just, just want to say thanks to everybody for pitching in and trying to help the survivors out. I battled healthcare companies. I've been injured and hurt at work, and the insurance companies don't give a shit. Management companies don't give a shit. Lawyers don't give a shit. Nobody gives a shit when you're sitting there trying to get yourself fixed up. And, that one little inch of energy that somebody puts in is like just amazing when it all comes together. So I just want to say thanks. On another note, I've got something coming down the pike. I can't talk about it right now. It's going to be fucking huge. And all I can say is don't underestimate what the crew can do while they're sitting in the back lounge while everything else is going on. So we've got something very cool. It's coming. It won't happen for about 3 months, but it'll be a big, knock on wood, be a big help for all the survivors. And I'm really excited about it. I got an email today over how this thing is going to work. All I can say is, y'all stay tuned. Keep an eye on the podcast, and as soon as I'm allowed to divulge what this is, everybody will know it. I think everybody's going to love it. As we're going to laugh about it and clap their hands, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
it is comical.
Yeah, it's right up our fucking alley. I mean, don't fuck with the crew is the bottom line. Don't ever fuck with the crew, because don't underestimate what we can pull off, because we do what it takes to get to point B. So,
hey, Mark, you got anything you want to share with us about what you've been going through? I mean, I know you've been going through hell here, buddy.
Well, I had circulation problems, and they just cut my leg off, my left leg, in September 1st. They tried to save it. They even took an artery out of my right leg to try to put in my left leg to try to save it, but my foot kept turning black. finally just got really black. And, you know, when I say black, I don't mean just off color. It's actually turns black. It's pretty gruesome sight. But they tried everything they could. They even tried cutting my calf on both sides, big old triangle on both sides. I said, how are y'all going to close that up? And they said, we're going to put strings in there like a shoelace, and then we're going to tighten them up every day. And that way it'll help pull the skin. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was thankful that didn't happen, because that sounded like it'd be really painful. But I woke up and I didn't have a leg, which was, I knew it was probably going to be gone. One of my doctors had told me that I would eventually lose my leg. So now I just got to take care of the right one. And that's as far as my health goes. You know, that's why I haven't been putting any of my YouTube videos out. Y'all mind if I plug my YouTube video?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway,
I like them. I watch them. Yeah.
It's called True Backstage and Road Stories. So if y'all would like to watch them, I would appreciate it. But I really appreciate these guys very much for what they do for all the survivors. Even, you know, Craig's a survivor, but he's helping the rest of us out that are having a little hard time right now. And I can't thank you enough, man. And Gene Odom, what a saint to me he is. He drove all the way to Pasadena, Texas, which for those of you that don't know, it's just southeast of Houston. He drove all the way here to give me $1,000. And it just blew me away. He came all the way to my house from Jacksonville, Florida. And it just brought tears to my eyes. I'm having trouble holding them back now because it was just amazing. And all these guys and what they're all doing to help us out, it's amazing. And thank you all, everybody that's donated, everybody that's thinking about donating, all of you. Thank you so much for all you've done for us. You know, not so sure we deserve it, but it sure does help a lot. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me on the podcast.
Well, I can say I personally, the Almighty brought you back, man, because we were worried about you. And, you know, we were like trying to keep in touch. And your girlfriend, Terry, man, she was really cool about providing information to us. And but it's just great to see you, man. It's good to see you back on the TV, you know. And and I think you look like you're feeling better. You got to be feeling better, right?
I am. Matter of fact, I got on my 0-turn mower the other day and tried to mow the grass a little bit. So
cool.
Back to normal. It was a little difficult getting on it with one leg, but I made it.
Are they 0 turns easy to do with one leg, though?
Exactly.
Are they going to hook you up with a prosthesis?
Yes. And I don't know when. And I went to see my doctor to get my stitches out. And I forgot to ask him when I would be able to get a prosthetic limb. But, you know, and I've been researching these prosthetic limbs. And now I didn't know how they work, so I've been YouTubing it. Of course, anything you want to know is out there on YouTube. Somebody's made a video of anything you want to know, pretty much.
Well, that's the dang truth.
I'm telling you, it's great. Technology, I love it. But the old ones, you know, you swing them like a pendulum, and then when the knee locks, you can put your weight on it. But now I hear that they've got these new computer legs that they come out, and it automatically adjusts your knee and locks automatically by how much weight you're putting on it. I can't explain the whole thing, of course, but they said that because I'm on Medicare that I will probably be able to get one of the new computer ones. They said a lot of insurance companies deny those, you know, and it just goes to show you, like Mitch said earlier, insurance companies, they don't give a shit about you, or it's all about the almighty dollar. But Medicare, you know, and for those of you, my doctor had told me once, he said, what kind of Medicare you have? And I said, well, it's just plain Medicare. And he said, you don't have that Advantage plan, do you? I said, no. He said, well, good. And I said, well, why? He said, because it makes a difference. And then I come to find out it does make a difference. Because if you have the Advantage plan, they say it doesn't. It helps you with your prescriptions, but a lot of things get denied if you're on the Advantage plan. Now, I'm not trying to knock the Advantage plan. I'm just saying it wasn't right for me. So I never did anything. Terry, of course, is on the Advantage plan. She doesn't pay anything for her prescriptions, but it's right for her. It suits her. She doesn't have the health problems that I do. So anyway, Medicare hopefully will pay for this computerized prosthetic leg. And they say it's got to heal on the inside and the outside before they can start fitting me for it. There was a guy that was a couple doors down from me in the rehab I got kicked out of. And he said that he had his leg cut off below the knee. He said it was a whole lot easier then, but then they came back and cut his leg off again, but above the knee. And he was trying to tell me and make me feel better about my own leg. And so his name was Bill Alexander. He was a really nice guy and helped me out a lot. Then this other guy come in, this black dude come in to work for a prosthetic company. He came walking in my rehab room, and both of his legs were artificial. And he came walking in like it was nothing. So, that all that support and what these people do, it really helps my mindset on my condition. There was a lot of times I felt so sorry for myself, oh, poor me. But, that's not the way to be. It's people help, and they help support you, and it helps your mind get right. And the one thing, and if I'm rambling on, tell me.
No, you're good. Go ahead, man. We needed some content. That's why I called you. Me and Griff had nothing.
So they have this therapy in there that was so weird, and it's called mirror therapy. I don't know if y'all have heard of it or not, but they take this like a mirror you hang on your closet door that you get dressed with, and it's on wheels, and they put it between your legs, and the mirror part faces your good leg. So you sit on the edge of this little bench that they work you out on, and you move your leg up and down, but you're looking at it in the mirror, and it looks like both of your legs are moving. And it's unbelievable, man. They said, well, it's to trick your mind, because for 70 years, my mind has always thought there was another leg there. So it's hard to trick your mind back into thinking, well, there's not a leg there. And I noticed my nub was moving up and down with the other leg. So it was very strange and awkward, but it was pretty cool. It was very cool, I thought.
Hey, Mark, is it true that you have, like, once they take your leg off, you kind of like have pain in it still? Like it's still there?
Yeah. Before they took my leg off, we have a store down here called HEB. I don't think y'all have them where y'all are, but this guy was walking along. He had a prosthetic leg, but he had shorts on. So I was like, hey man, can I talk to you for a minute? He goes, sure. What you need? So I said, I think they may do that to me eventually. I don't know when, but anyway. So what's it like? And do you have what they call phantom pain? He goes, oh yeah. And that's what it's called, phantom pain, because your leg's not there, but it hurts. And sometimes I can feel my toes that are not even there. It's very strange, but the phantom pain is so real. And he told me, he says, yeah, you'll have phantom pain, but it's not as bad as the original pain. Well, I call bullshit on that. Wow. I'm going to tell you, that phantom pain is something else. It's getting better, I'll say that. But man, it's like somebody had nails or needles in their fingertips and grabbing my calf as hard as they can grab it. And it's amazing how bad it hurts. And it's not even there. It's just like tricking your mind into thinking, it's not there. You gotta train your mind into realizing it's not there anymore. It doesn't hurt, but it does hurt, and it hurts a lot. It's not something that's just to be taken lightly. And I'm sure most people or anybody out there watching this can contest to that about phantom pain. It's very real, and it hurts. But like I said, it's getting better. Everything's getting better. I can do a lot more for myself. When I wake up in the morning, I still have to pee in a jug, and I quit making Terry empty them. So I go empty. I go empty my own jugs now. But, when you wake up in the morning, you gotta go. So it's nice to have a jug or two around the bed. And that happens. And then, going outside, I got to go outside, and I have to there's still a lot of stuff you have to do and take care of. So, I try not to let it get me down. A lot of times I want to feel sorry for myself, but I think about this guy before I moved in this house about 8 years ago, maybe. Guy across the street from me was 19 years old. He's my age now, 70. And he was in Austin, Texas, and dove off of a cliff and broke his neck. So since he was 19 years old, he's been paralyzed from the neck down. And I just talked to him yesterday because I thought he moved or he may have passed on, but he's still kicking. And every time I think or feel bad about my own stuff, I think of him, and I think, this guy's my hero. I think about him, and I quit feeling sorry for myself. But I got, one thing I wanted to tell you that when they took my leg off, it was it's normally, the doctor said it's normally about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to do that. And so you back up and do all that. Well, my leg took 8 hours. And they said the reason it took 8 hours is because both of my hips are artificial, and the stems from these artificial hips went almost to my knee on both legs. So I've had 17 hip replacements. I've had 9 on one side and 8 on the other. Well, when they started to cut my leg off, the stem is made out of surgical stainless. He said nowadays they make them out of titanium, but because mine was made out of surgical stainless, it took them 8 hours to get my leg off because they had to use some kind of a burr and cut on it. And they would cut on it, and then it would get really hot, of course, and they'd have to stop cutting on it until it cooled off. And then they'd do it again. That's why it took 8 hours to cut my leg off. So let's just hope they don't have to cut the other one off.
Wow. So they had to, it was going so far down your leg, the spur for your hip, that they actually had to get into that, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah, because the stem went almost to my knee. And back then, that's just the way they did things. And that was in the 80s. And of course, my last hip replacement was in 2005. And that was quite an ordeal in itself because they had to put cadaver bone in there, because once they do one, they have to, you lose a lot of bone when they take it out and put another one back in. So they put cadaver bone, mesh, and all kind of stuff in there. But now I forgot what I was going to say. It's hell getting old.
That's a lot of information, though, man. I mean, anybody that hasn't had a hip operation, I'll tell you right now, I don't see how you went through so many, because me just going through one, that was pretty brutal. So, and then back then, they were just kind of basically experimenting,
Exactly. I had to go. I was hurting so bad. I just had both of them replaced, and I was hurting so bad. And a friend of my dad told me, man, you need to go to the Mayo Clinic. And back then, that was before they had the one in Arizona and in Florida. So I went to the Mayo Clinic and they tested me, and what an awesome place that was. But they figured out that I was infected in both of my hips. So they had to take both of my hips out at the same operation. So I was laying there up at the Mayo Clinic for about 6 weeks with no hips at all. And they would come in to try to do the bed, and it was so, God almighty, it was so painful. That was probably the worst ever. And it was just so painful. Well, finally, just to change my sheet, they try to roll you over, and just moving me was extremely painful. So finally, they had a trapeze. And speaking of trapezes, they don't use trapezes anymore, because I asked them in rehab and in the hospital, y'all got a trapeze? No, we don't use them anymore. I don't know why. I got one above my bed in the other room, because it makes a big difference. But I would hold myself up on the trapeze because my legs were in a sling. Both of them were in slings. So I would just hold myself up, and they could make the bed, do whatever they wanted to do, and then I'd lower myself back down. But that was the worst, taking both of my hips out and then leaving them out, sent me home. So I didn't have any hips at all when I went home, and put me in a wheelchair. And then my dad had built this device that was it was kind of a tube with a slot in the bottom of it, and had a little wheel in it that had a trapeze hanging for it, and I could hold on to it. And because it was slanted, it would let me move over into the bathtub so I could sit in the chair in the bathtub and take a shower. It was pretty cool. And then I got to where, you get used to it. So I didn't have any hips, and I could get, at that time I was driving a Volkswagen Bug, and I would slide over into my seat and fold my wheelchair up, put it behind me, and go wherever I wanted to go. It was quite the ordeal, but we made it.
What do they do now without the trapeze, though?
Nothing. You don't have anything.
Really?
And I'm shocked. And I'm still shocked over it, that why they don't use the trapeze. They said, well, in special occasions, they use it, like maybe in therapy or whatever, but not normally in the hospital. Normally, back then, the old beds, they could just clamp shit to. They were like octagon, almost like scaffolding, but they were octagon shaped poles or bed frame. They would just clamp on whatever they needed to onto your bed. And it was pretty cool, I thought, because they put all that up and you have a trapeze you can hang on to, and it makes a world of difference. But they didn't have them now, and I don't know what they use now. They didn't use anything for me. It was just miserable every time. You just get your leg cut off, and now they want to roll you over and do all this. But I do want to say a little shout out to my buddy, Wayne Jackson. He's been a friend of mine for many years, and he came to the hospital every day, and he came and helped me get up in the morning. He'd be there early in the morning. He'd help me get up and wait for physical therapy. He would help me exercise. He helped me. He even wiped my butt, man. This guy was my saint. He still is. And I just want to say shout out to Wayne Jackson. He did so much for me. And to this day, he'll call me every other day or every day and see what I need. He'll take me to the doctor. He'll do whatever I really ask him to do. I mean, this guy, I just owe you everything, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I saw where it looked like you had a little jam session in your hospital room.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
We did. That was unbelievable. Well,
Yeah.
when I was in the hospital, a friend of mine came up and he brought his guitar, and him and his wife, they come to this. We used to go to this bar every Sunday, and hear our favorite band play. So he came up to the hospital room with a guitar. So there was a few of us in there, and we would pass the guitar around and play. And so it was so cool. I just really enjoyed it. And somebody filmed it, put it on Facebook. And so then when I get to the rehab center away from the hospital, I got about 4 or 5 guys to come up to the rehab room I mean, they're all single rooms there and they're pretty big. So these guys came and they brought their guitars. And so we had another jam session. And everybody in the hospital, I say everybody, not everybody, in the rehab would come by my door. They would stop and we go, come on in. I had about, I don't know, 8 to 12 chairs in my room. People would just come by and sit in and listen to us pick and play. It was awesome. And the guy that had his leg cut off a few doors down from me, he was in it. He absolutely loved it. He's 10 years older than I am. He's 80 and he loved it. And another guy that came in there, his name was Orville, and he had made an album. He had about 12, 13 songs on this album. And this old buddy Bill that was a few doors down, he loved that guy's music, man. And so I gave him that CD and he loved it, man. So that was a lot of fun. So am I rambling on? Am I taking y'all's time away?
No. Like Craig said, we didn't have a whole lot of content anyway. We were glad you came on because there was a lot of people that was actually, wondering how you were doing, and this is pretty good proof right here of how you're doing.
Yeah, people want to know what it's like to be a survivor of the Lynyrd Skynyrd airplane crash. I mean, like you said, I'm relatively healthy, I got everybody knows I advertise I got brain damage, but
No,
people swear it's from all the drugs that I did. I don't know. It might be a combination of the both. The doctor said I was going to have a little problem with my memory and stuff, and it said that I would have a little brain damage, he called it. I don't know. I guess when you get knocked unconscious for 14 days, you're going to have a little brain damage. But
right,
but yeah, people want to know about my private life. They go, yeah, we like to hear about Lynyrd Skynyrd, and Lynyrd Skynyrd stories. Yeah, we like to hear about that, but we also like to break away and hear about some of your private life, too. Even they want to know about my 5 wives. I don't really care to talk about that part of my life much. But if something happens to me, like happened to Timmy, me and old Timmy, that was pretty interesting. That was kind of one of
awesome.
my things that I'm on a mission from God. I'm one of the disciples. That was my thing. But it's kind of funny today. I went to get some tires today so I can make that trip down to Mississippi, and I'm standing there talking to Jay over there at State Street Tire over on Manchester Road. I go over there. They have pretty good customer service over there. That's why I go there. Automotive. I asked Automotive what kind of tires I should get, and I told him where I wanted to go. So he looked them up and seen what they had over there. So they had to order them. So I was going over there, and I was telling Jay, I said, yeah, I'm Craig Reed. And the guy's sitting there in the waiting room. I'm sitting there talking to Jay, and he comes up with his phone, and he's got pictures of me and him and Lee on his phone. Wow. Where he was up at the Skynyrd show a few years ago up at it had to have been a long time ago. My God Almighty, I've been retired since 2005. So. Yeah, it was me and this guy. I forget his name. I'm sorry, dude, but he'll watch the podcast. Jay up there at State Street Tire. He said he was gonna watch it. I was giving my business cards to everybody up there, but yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah. I go up and I'm sitting there at the counter, and some guy, and he watches the STONED Roadie show. The guy that was up there waiting to get it. That was kind of funny, But yeah, okay, go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry to butt into your conversation, but yeah, people like I'm sure they're interested in what you've been going through, and we like to get Paul Welsh on and talk about him. I got to move over here because the camera's right there in my way to see it. But yeah, we like to get all the people, the survivors on, and we'd like to get a lot more of the survivors on. Steve Lawler and. Just a lot of them are kind of apprehensive to come on. I don't. Do you ever talk to Jim Brace? I never even knew who he was.
Yes, I do. Jim was my roommate before Skynyrd. Matter of fact, he worked for Clearlight, and we both did the Peter Frampton tour right before we did Skynyrd. And yeah, he just called me just the other day to check on me. So yeah,
No
we still
kidding.
keep in touch.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Great guy.
I don't remember what he even looked like. I swear, I don't remember him.
He didn't sit back there with us. He wasn't a big poker player, so during the crash, he was sitting in the middle watching movies, I think, with some of the girls, and so that's.
Well, I know in Ron Eckerman's book, he had me confused with Jim Brace because Ron in the book said Jim Brace was playing cards and Jim pulled the poker table out of the said he reached down, pulled the table right out of the floor and threw it to the back of the plane. But that was me. But yeah, that was me. I remember doing that. But then Carolyn Day, she's a friend of mine, and she straightened it out in the new version, I think. And but I don't think it was in Ron's video book, that part. But there's been a couple different versions of Ron's book through the creation of it.
How's Jim Brace doing, Mark? Is he doing okay?
Oh yeah, he's doing fine. Yeah, he worked for LD Systems here in Houston. It's a sound and lighting company, and he just retired. I guess last year he retired from them. And he told me, he said, "Man," he says, "my parents both passed away, and they had money, a little, not stinking rich, but they had a little money." And so he said, "Man, I don't hurt for money. I don't do anything." He said, "I just retired, enjoy life, enjoy my grandkids and my children." So he's just
we'd like to get him. If you talk to him, we'd like to get him on here sometime. That'd be great. Yeah,
I will ask him.
Get his version of the plane crash. Nobody's ever heard that one. Everybody's got their own version.
That's so true.
Sure
you're
people
right.
would love to hear the version of Jim Brace's version. I would,
I'll ask him. He's never been one to talk about it. It's always seemed kind of strange to me because he's never, ever wanted to talk about it. It's just been, I don't know, maybe something happened to him that.
He didn't get hurt much at all, did he?
Well, he got hurt, not bad, but I think he had a punctured lung.
Yeah, I did too.
And he had a broken forearm, and I don't know what else had happened to him. Those two things I think I remember from what had happened to him. He didn't climb out, I think there was a bunch of people on top of him. I remember him telling me that when he was laying there, he said there was so much screaming going on that he just screamed himself and said, "Shut up!" Because there was just so many people screaming, and I couldn't imagine that either. That kind of freaks me out a little bit.
I was unconscious through that whole thing, so I don't.
So was I.
I have no recollection of any of that stuff, which is probably good. At times I wish I would remember, but at times I just I don't have dreams or nothing about that stuff because I don't have any remembrance of it. It's just I remember bam, 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 and that's it. That's all I remember. And then I woke up in the hospital. What happened to me?
I don't remember you pulling the table out, and I was sitting right next to you. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned it, it's just kind of a faint flash.
Yeah, Ron said Jim Brace pulled the table out, but actually that was me. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, when you got on the plane, I don't know if I asked you this when I interviewed you that one time, and I forget which podcast it was. Whenever you got on the plane, what was your feeling about the plane? Were you also like had some animosity about getting on the plane because of the way it was acting? And did you voice it to Ronnie?
Of course.
Yeah.
there's so many things I remember so very clearly, and like getting on in Lakeland, and I was sitting. Well, if you like, I was sitting next to the window the day of the crash, but I was sitting like across the table. Steve Lawler was across from me during the crash, and then if the guy that there was 4 chairs there and a table, of course, and then I was sitting in the one that would be across from Craig. So, and I saw that flame shoot out of the engine, and I don't know where you were at that time the day before, Craig, but I was sitting there in that seat that would have been across from you the day of the plane crash, and I watched that flame shoot out of that engine. I was like, wow, look at that, man. What the hell's wrong? Are we going to crash or what? And then we landed, and then everybody says, oh, man, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to get it fixed. And we're like, why don't you get it fixed here instead of us flying there and having a mechanic look at it then? Why can't you get it fixed here? Fly the mechanic here. It seemed to me would have made a lot more sense. And so, yeah, I was very apprehensive about getting on it. But, it was like either get on the plane or go home. I didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't want to work, say you don't want to work and go home. But everybody got on it. Well, not everybody, but most of us got on it. And
Or do you know if Mark Frank is going to be coming to the monument? Have you talked to him?
I have not. And I sent a message that the first time I went to the monument, I don't know, I think it was 5 years ago. And Mark Frank is the one that talked me into going to the monument the first time. He had called me and said, look, man, try to make it. And I said, okay. So Terry and I are driving there, and we pull over at this little bitty store, and it's close to the monument. So we pull over to the store, and there's 2 guys there. And so I got out of the truck, and I went over and I said, hey, man, do you guys happen to know where the Lynyrd Skynyrd monument is? And then Mark Frank was one of those guys.
Wow.
And he says, Mark Howard. And I looked around, I was like, how do you know who I am? He says, I recognize your voice. And I went, who are you? And he says, Mark Frank. I went, oh, man, cool. And the guy that was with him was Julian Haney. And
oh, yeah.
Julian, what a great guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He really is. And so I just got through texting him on Facebook either this morning or last night to see if he was coming, because he's recently been married. And I told him he wanted to meet his new wife, Amy. But I haven't got a response from him yet. So I don't know if he's coming or if Mark's coming. I don't know who else is coming.
Yeah, he's a pretty good guitar player. That is so weird. I mentioned us taking guitars down to the pavilion and picking, and I'm a horrible guitar player, but Julian and Mark was telling me, he said, man, Julian, he's a shredder, man. So, but I had given him my guitar to pick that day, and he acted like he couldn't play at all. Mark's sitting there telling me, no, man, he said, this guy can really play. I said, well, it don't look like it to me. But he said, yeah. So then I think he may have played a little bit better. Yeah, I got it on video of him playing. Yeah, he's a pretty good player. Yeah, he does pretty good. He might have just been tired or something.
Maybe he just didn't want to show off. I don't know. But he's a good guy, and if he made a video that year too, that was a real good video, I thought. And Tom Wells, the guy that covered the story from Florida, he was there too, and he was a real nice guy.
Yeah, you would have loved it there in Jacksonville when we did that thing, and I know you were right in the middle of going through what you were going through, but it was really a great time. Everybody had a good time, and they got to see each other. And Paul Welch, he was really tickled to death to be there. And I got an interview with him. I don't know if you saw that or not, but yeah, it was a pretty great time.
I'm sorry I missed it. I really am sorry I missed it. But
well, you had a good excuse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did, but I sure wish I'd have been there. And Paul, do you know if Paul's coming?
We probably ought to find out a little bit more about that because
He
I know
said he was
he
gonna.
told me.
He at the last. He when we went down to Jacksonville down there, he said he was gonna make every attempt he could. Him and his sister both said, yeah. Paul would come.
Well, Mitch, we talked him into coming, so he's coming now, right, Mitch?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna make the trek down there to come say hi and hang out.
And those of you guys that don't know Mitch, was the bus driver for Lynyrd Skynyrd and Hank Williams Jr., Peter Frampton. Who else did you drive for, Mitch?
Oh man, we could go from Bad Company all the way on to Dolly and Hank Jr. and just on the list goes on and on. Pink Floyd, Genesis. I mean, I started around 1985 and stayed on the road for a while. So
what company did you work for, or do you work for?
Yeah, I first started with Stage Call.
Yeah,
Out of California, a guy named Tom
Sure.
Duncan owned Stage Call. I think he was may have been a driver when y'all were out there, late 70s, early 80s when Clark Transfer was running stuff around. But that's where I got my roots, was with Stage Call, and I did a little bit of time with Upstaging and Ego Trips and a few other companies. I worked as an independent. I actually owned my own truck and trailer and had a small company, and got out of trucks and moved into buses around, I guess it was somewhere around 95, 96.
Oh wow, cool.
Yes,
Very
sir.
cool. You know, my buddy.
Upstaging, those Corone brothers started off with Lynyrd Skynyrd. That was
man.
That was our first lighting company. Donnie and
Robert.
Yeah, Donnie and Robert Corone, and Donnie was so young, he didn't even have a driver's license, and and they had a little 14-foot blue bobtail GMC truck, and I would ride with Robert and help him drive because Donnie was too young, and and that was before they had rigging, and then Donnie became their rigger, right? Yeah, they're out of Chicago, but they're the biggest. They're like the biggest company there is now.
Yeah.
So Mitch, being the bus driver, I mean, you had to have had some pretty long, in-depth conversations with all those people that you drove for, right? I mean,
really, it's a yes and no. A lot of times if you're driving an artist, we kind of leave them alone. We look out for them. We're like you maintain a shadow behind them. You take care of their stuff, and it just, out of sight, out of mind is always the best way to be. You get onto a crew bus, you have crew guys, production guys on there, like, with Craig. I mean, you just kind of stay the same way. Everybody's doing their gig, and my gig is to get them to point B in one piece safely. And if there's a problem that comes up, my job is to solve the problem. I'm basically, you're basically running a pirate ship, and you're like, you're the captain of the ship, and you got to keep everything going. And that's, and it's all going on, above deck, below deck, the gangplank's in full operation. There's just a lot of shit going on. So yeah, the driver is there to get the guys to point B. So as far as interaction goes, I always, I never reached out to anybody. I always just minded my own business until, somebody wanted to, come up front and shoot the shit or smoke a cigarette, or, how when were we going to be there? When are we going to stop? When's the next truck stop? And that's usually the icebreaker. And then that's how we'd interact with the guys.
Hey, Mitch,
how do you think it would, Griff? How do you think it would be to be driving a bus with a dozen alcoholics snorting cocaine?
Well, I would probably run off the road, and I'm sure I would run
like
off
a
the
barrel
road.
full of monkeys, don't you think? Kind of like a flying circus.
And I worked through the rap tour days, like back in the 90s when, all the rappers hit the road, and, here we had a bunch of rock and rollers trying to work on rap tours, and so we had a fusion of all kinds of shit going on. I mean, we had gunfights, we had buses full of holes, we had buses that were disappearing. I mean, it was like the fucking Wild West. I mean, it really was.
Wow.
It really was. So it's it's as a driver, if you were out there for any, and again, back then we toured for months and months and months. We just didn't go out for a couple of dates or a weekend. It was, you were out there. It wasn't unheard of to be out on the road for a year or 2 years and come home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then head back out. That's just how it worked back then.
Hey, Mitch, if you had to pick the rowdiest band, who would they be?
As far as a band goes,
yeah.
It's a tough call because I wouldn't call. I've never really had anybody that you could call rowdy. I mean, you had bands that get into their own, drama, their own drama amongst themselves. But as far as rowdy goes, I just can't put a finger on one because it was all always just, I don't know, just normal shit. Everybody's happy, everybody's fighting. There's some drama
shit
going on. Where's my drugs? Fuckers drank my whiskey. Where's my shit? That's just part of it. And most people be freaking out like, oh my God, he's the singer and he can't find his fucking tequila. Yeah, it's just like, I'm not gonna freak out. Everybody just freak out. I got a pocket full of cash. Where's the fucking liquor store at? I need to shut this down now. So you just stop and deal with it. But as far as rowdy goes, again, you'd be completely surprised at how peaceful a lot of people are. When you're on that bus, that's their world. That's a closed fucking environment. I mean, it's just, that's where you can, we didn't have cell phones. Cell phones came in late, but, the bus was like your sacred ground, and there were certain rules about that sacred ground. So it was never really too rowdy on the bus. Loud music, carrying on, card games, front lounge, back lounge. But as far as, any physical, lizard lick towing bullshit and knockdown drag out fights, I just never had any.
I think the bus is where Craig got fired when he got fired from Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah. Well, Craig rode my bus, and I had all the backline guys. I had Craig. I had Craig and Pops and Rod Gibson and just Brian Evers. I mean, I had those guys on there, and we never had any knockdown dragouts. It was just, at the end of the day, everybody's just happy to find a place to relax and chill because you're 150 miles an hour from fucking load in all the way to load out. So,
we were going to get an RV, Mark. We were going to get an RV, and we were going to do a convoy from Craig's house to the monument. And we asked Mitch. We said, "Mitch, you want to drive?" And he went, "No."
Mitch, were you driving the bus during ZZ Top with Rod Gibson when he became good friends with Billy Gibbons and they got the idea that they were going to go and Rod came back with a gold tooth, and everybody thought that Billy talked him into getting a gold tooth, and it was just a cap. And Dale got mad at him. She thought he really had a gold tooth put in. It was just a cap. He fooled everybody, but yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, that wasn't me. I never did a ZZ Top kick, but just knowing Rod Gibson, Rod was good for some, straight faced pranks for sure. That were.
He became good friends with Billy Gibbons. Yeah, and they went out running around. They came back. Rod came back with a gold cap on his tooth. But Rod, he was all showing everybody. They were good. Dale got mad.
God. That's some funny shit. No, that was not. I wasn't there for that one. Oh man.
I had a bus driver leave me at a truck stop one time. Everybody, I got off. I didn't see anybody there. Everybody was asleep. I didn't see anybody up, so I just went in the truck stop. I walk out, and the bus is hauling ass. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I had no idea what I was going to do. So I look around, I look over at the fuel tanks, and we were on the road one of the acts that was with us was Alabama, and I noticed one of their trucks over there at the getting fuel. So I went over there and I said, "Hey, man, can you give me a ride?" He looks at me like I was crazy, man. He didn't know me from Adam. I said, "Look, man, I'm on this tour. I'm the rigger. I have to be there in the morning. So please give me a ride." He wasn't too happy about it, but he gave me a ride. They finally caught up with the CBs and all. They caught up with the bus, and they had pulled over at a rest area. And I think he was happy for me to get the hell out of his truck, because, like you said, that's your domain. That's home to you. That truck is his home, and the bus is our home, and we're on it. So yeah, that was a pretty funny story.
For you guys that haven't seen Mark's podcast, what he does is he's got this bag, and he has these stage passes, and he reaches in and he grabs a stage pass out of all of these gigs that he's worked, and he tells a story about that gig that he worked for that particular stage pass. And how many do you have out there, actual episodes, Mark?
I'm not sure, but I think it's somewhere around maybe 30, 35, maybe 40. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you have a lot of subscribers. You have more subscribers than we do.
I think I've been at it about a year longer than y'all too, though, or maybe a little longer than that. I'm not sure, but I think I'm pretty sure I've been doing it longer than y'all.
Oh yeah, you've been doing it a lot longer. Yeah, you were doing it way before we even thought about it.
But that's the only reason I would have more, is because I've just been doing it longer. That's all.
Mark's the one who told me to get rid of this microphone here that I got. He said, "Man, you need to get rid of this damn."
No, actually, I asked Mark. I was watching one of Mark's podcasts, and he said, "Hey, somebody donated me a microphone," and I thought it was somebody that was affiliated with the Shure, and I asked Mark, I said, "Hey man, Griff needs a mic." And he went, "No, that's a friend of mine that just gave it to me, you know." So then I had to go buy my Griff a mic.
Yeah, and then Craig bought me a camera, and then he said that the guy that sent the camera, the first camera, it never came. You had to buy another camera, and then the camera finally came, and then the guy said, "Well, just keep it." And so we sent that camera back.
Yeah, I bought a camera, and I kept going, It's going to be delivered today. It's going to be delivered today. And it kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to the same place. And the guy that sold it to me got sick of hearing it. And it keeps going back and forth. He goes, I'm canceling it. If you get it, just keep it. I don't give a shit. So about a month later, Griff gets the camera. By that time, I'd already bought another one. So we just sent the other one back and got a free camera.
Mark, do you keep all your old laminates like in a Crown Royal bag?
Well, not a Crown Royal bag, but a
brown paper bag.
Brown paper bag. Yeah.
Brown paper bag. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kept them for years and years.
Some of them are kind of faded. You can't even see his picture anymore. And then, but he's got a good story for all. You guys have to go watch the podcast. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Mitch, do you know my buddy J-Boy Adams?
J-Boy Adams. I haven't talked to J-Boy Adams in over 30 years. Is a quick conversation about going to work at Roadhouse, right?
Yeah, right.
His company, and that was pretty much it. I was calling around looking for a home. No, J-Boy, he's been around forever. He's a pillar in the bus business.
Yeah, he called me, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and he said, "Mark," he said, "if I got a free bus come October," he said, "I'm going to send it to you and your buddies can get in it and go to Mississippi." So I guess he didn't get a free bus, but that was really, really nice of him to offer that for me and my buddies, man. I think he's a great guy. I just, when I saw you were a bus driver, I was like, boy, I bet we have a lot of mutual friends,
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
Griff, Ron Harris says he's going to meet us down there. He says he's got a brand new RV. He's going to be there. He's got a parking place. And he invited us to hang out on his new RV while he's parked down there at the Dwayne's place down there, so we can
down at the
have a
pavilion.
place to hang
Yeah.
out. So that's
Cool.
pretty doggone cool because that was our plan when we was going to have the convoy down there. We go, well, man, that way we can have a dressing room. Now, seems like now old Ron Harris is going to accommodate one for us. So good for you, Ron Harris. Hey,
Hey, Yahoo! Whoa!
there you go.
Yeah, we'll christen it for you. The Stone Roadie style.
Yeah.
Well, Craig, I guess we probably ought to wrap it up. We still got
yeah. We got Timmy coming up.
You guys don't want to miss. You don't want to miss the homeless guy Craig picked up because it's kind of it's sad, but at the same time it's hilarious. So
I didn't get, but it's not very long. I still have a visual of the whole thing happening with that's not on tape. It was kind of funny. I don't really remember doing the live.
It's kind of
thing.
like watching somebody from two different countries talk. Craig.
Well,
Craig.
I played the version of Richmond, north of Richmond. I played the version with Griff playing rhythm guitar and Zach playing lead guitar and Chad Lane singing. And for some reason he thought that was the Stoned Roadie band, and he kept going Stoned Roadie. So I like the Stoned Roadie band.
I guess it can be
the Stoned Roadie band.
We had a lot of fun doing that, and then Oliver Anthony actually got on the Griff Martin Files channel of mine and commented on it, and I was like hoping he would share it, but he I guess he didn't think enough about it to share it.
Well, didn't he invite us down to one of his gig here coming up, didn't he?
Joey, his Jimmy Wooten, he's the guy. He's trying to get us back there, but Chris Lunsford, Oliver Anthony, he did see it, so I think he didn't say he hated it. It didn't suck.
There have been several attempts to recreate that song, though. I've watched several. Yeah, but you guys did a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah, Chad, he's a pretty good singer. He sings for Zach on Six Gun, and it's kind of funny to watch a son and a father interact in a band. It's really cool to hang around those guys, and when they're doing things together, it's pretty comical. But Chad is a great singer.
He just turned 22, right?
I think so. Yeah,
he just turned 22.
Yeah. And then Savannah, I think she's still 17?
They're 17. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys want to see some good footage of Six Gun? Go to the Griff Martin Files and check that out. So,
hey, I forgot to mention something. Mark and Craig, today is Lawler's birthday.
Steve Lawler.
Yeah, it's his birthday.
Oh wow! Happy birthday, Steve Lawler.
Yeah.
He was Steve Lawler. Steve Lawler. A little history with Steve Lawler. He was Peter Frampton's production manager. He was like running the show with Peter Frampton, and I guess Ron Ackerman owned Clearlight. You could probably tell the better story than this because you worked with Clearlight.
Yeah, Steve was the stage manager for Frampton when we were out with him, and Jim Brace, of course, and myself, and Ron Eckerman and Rodney Eckerman owned Clearlight together. Now, Rodney was more involved with Peter Frampton than Ronnie was. Ronnie was with Skynyrd, as you well know, and so Rodney was pretty much dedicated to Frampton, and Ronnie, of course, with Skynyrd. So, and afterwards, after the crash, I went to work for LD Systems and did a lot more work on the road for that. But yeah, what you said is true.
Yeah, but basically for the Street Survivors tour, we had the Peter Frampton crew, a lot of the Peter Frampton's crew with us. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
yeah.
There was only, actually, I think there was only the four of us. Yeah, there was only the four of us: Jim, myself, and Steve.
Yeah.
And I did the rigging, and then I'd come down and work on the lights with Jim and Steve. But that was
no, we didn't have a lighting guy at that time, did we? Steve Lawler was who was running the lights. We didn't.
Ronnie.
Yeah,
I'm
Steve
Lawler.
Sure
Ronnie did. No, Steve didn't run the lights. No.
Oh, Ronnie did.
I'm pretty sure Ronnie did.
He was our road manager.
Yeah, I know. But I still think during the show he I think he went and ran the board.
Because Bob O'Neill had been our lighting guy for quite a while with forget who the lighting company was. I guess that was when you guys took over. That was when Clearlight took over from whoever we were using before. Yeah, never mind.
I don't know who y'all were using before.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Question for you and Craig both, and this is something on my mind. We'd go back and sit there and like watch older videos of, say, live stuff from Skynyrd, like over in England and out in California, doing a show with like 30,000 people, just in a stadium. And when you see that, it makes you think. It's like, look at these guys, they're playing their ass off. They have a couple of PA stacks, small lighting rig. I don't even know if there were trusses back then, right? Just maybe one truss with a bunch of cans hanging on it, a couple spotlights.
Cans, yeah.
Yeah, par cans.
Yeah, old par 36s, right? So,
well,
you look at that in those days, and you see the crowd wowing over the music and the talent. What do you think when you see let's go back to then, and then let's fast forward to 2023, and you see a band like, say, U2 or Metallica or somebody? They've got like 46 trucks worth of shit up on a huge ass stage, or a 360-degree stage with 80,000 people, taking like 2 days to do a complete load in, and leapfrogging systems, and like a show of that size. I mean, did you ever think that would ever get to this today, with all that stuff, video walls, fucking lasers, and just pyro, and just every fucking trick in the book? Did it ever cross your mind?
Not me. I mean, I never would have thought that there would be computerized lighting, and that's all there is now. Very few par 64s or 36s or 56s, either one.
Now there's computerized sound. That's what blows my mind. All the speaker cabinets are computerized, and they run them all with a Bluetooth standing there, and they can adjust all the speakers with a Bluetooth. Right. That's crazy. They don't have
they have that jumbotron too, the big screens. That's something you guys didn't have back then either.
Oh, and they're not, and the original big screens weighed 20 tons, man, and the new ones are like thin, but they're very expensive.
Yeah, I had the first Genesis developed the first Very Lights, right? In conjunction with Shuttle.
Yeah, Very Lights. That was the ones that were monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the very first load of those out on Genesis here in the States. And at the time, I didn't have a rock box, right? I was pulling a flat floor air ride trailer with a roll up door. And the production manager, never forget, Morris Slida, he looks at me, he goes, "You like to fight?" I said, "Only when I have to." He said, "You're going to haul these Very Lights." I said, and I didn't know what the fuck Very Lights were. That was my first tour, man. It was a stadium tour. And had these lights, and I didn't realize how important they were back then, because nobody had the technology. Nobody ever saw a Very Light. Here I've got a whole fucking semi, and I didn't realize it. And somebody said, "You know how much those motherfuckers are worth?" I'm like, "No." Let's put it this way. I bet if they came up missing, the band would go fucking bankrupt. I'm like, Really? It's like, yeah. So
Those lights are $50,000 a piece. Some of them.
Yeah.
yes, and yeah, they're over. I was told they're over 50 grand a piece, and I had the VL ones, and we did a whole stadium tour, throughout the United States, and everybody took care of the lights. We had, it was just this whole thing about Very Lights, and we took such good fucking care of them. No issues at all. The band goes to Europe to tour. They go to Italy. One of the lights comes up missing.
Oh no.
So everybody lost their fucking shit over the missing Very Light on Genesis. Then the thing turns up. Another tour comes through from the States. There's the missing Very Light hanging on some bar on the wall of a bar in Italy. Like it's just as like, an old fucking Velvet Elvis or something, or some kind of, souvenir hanging on the wall. And that was the missing VL1. But it's just, that was, the cool new technology of 1985, 86. Compared to what you guys were doing back in the 70s, and now 100-foot wide, 200-foot wide video walls, 100 feet in the air.
Wasn't Nocturne kind of one of the first that did the video walls?
Yeah.
The Journey was that with Steve God.
Is that Herbie Herbert?
Herbie Herbert, yeah. Herbie Herbert was Nocturne, that was a big Nocturne trucking, and and the video was all Herbie, yeah.
Some crazy stuff, man. Like I said, just to hear like you guys talk about it from where it was, were you sitting there watching somebody jumping out, watching Alan jumping up in the air, having a blast playing guitar from like in the 70s, and then like fast forward it and you see like just this massive amounts of shit in the stadium. It's like, whoa. It's just, by comparison, it's just insane.
A lot of it is is technology, but when you got 40 something trucks, you definitely got a lot of shit on stage. Yeah.
Well, there was a guy, and God bless him. He was an icon to everybody. His name was Hoot Borden, legendary bus driver. And Hoot used to tell us stories about Ernest Tubb. That was his foundation, was driving the Green Hornet for Ernest Tubb back in the day. And Hoot was telling myself and a couple other guys about when they came out with these things called stage monitors. And they got these stage monitors. They brought them out on a stage where Ernest Tubb was doing a show. And he walked out and he asked one of the guys, well, what are these things? They said, well, Mr. Tubb, that's so you can hear yourself singing and playing, while you're doing the show. He goes, well, I don't really need that. He said, well, this is something new and just new technology. He said, all right, fine. And so Hoot's telling us this story. Well, Ernest gets up on there. This stuff starts feeding back on him during the show. And Hoot said, I never saw a man kick a speaker so hard in my life. He kicked those motherfuckers off the stage. The sound company guys were going on. They were going crazy. They didn't know what to do. And he just kept on playing while he was kicking these monitors off. It just kept playing. And they came up with this little thing. We don't need all that fancy shit. Plug in, play, and let's get the fuck out. That's their motto. So it's just little anecdote that was passed on to me that I always thought was just amazing over the years.
I could picture that being done. I really could.
All right, we waited to call this an evening with the Stone Roadie show and get on with Timmy, and then is anybody else that's got some more jibber jabber?
I want to say thanks to Mark, man. It's just you and Craig are like icons. You're like the roadies of all roadies, the crew guys of all crew guys, and for all the shit you guys have been through. Hey, I'm an old Marine, and I've done my fair share, but you guys, beyond being good statistics and all the shit you guys have been through, just a true inspiration that you could set your mind to things. You could just keep on fucking going and don't let anything stop you. And I just want to say thanks, because what you guys have done has meant a lot to me. And going through the good times, the bad times, having the fun, and being an inspiration to people, as life goes on, is just something you can't buy in a fucking store. And I just want to say thank you for all of it.
Well,
when it comes to old roadies, we're kind of as old as you can get.
Yeah.
Not as old as you, but close.
Yeah, we're about it. We're about it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the compliment, Mitch. Appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to meeting you down in Mississippi too, man. I just love to come and
Ditto.
hang with you and talk some shit and have some fun.
That'd be great, man. Are you going to bring your guitar, Griff?
Yeah, I'll bring it, but we'll see if I play it. I might be
Yeah.
like Julian, you know.
Yeah, well, you may be busy too. So
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess I need to bring Blackie down there and let somebody play it down there
why not?
for the
Yeah, may as well like pass it around.
Billy Fender's Blackie. Advertise it a little bit before we let people play it, before we auction it
sell
off
it,
on
yeah.
on eBay here coming up.
Cool. You know,
So-
last year, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I was just saying last year there was a guy that was one of the original Swampers that was playing. He's playing saxophone at the Monument last year. And I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I remember that. Ricky Wascombe's buddy. Yeah, those guys are good
Yeah.
friends. I forget his name.
Me
but
too. He was a really nice guy. I didn't know who
yeah.
he was, but he was
he's pretty old guy. He just got
Yes.
divorced, and he's like
Oh.
80 years old, and he just got divorced.
Oh, wow. But it was cool just seeing him down there and just knowing that he was one of the original Swampers. And for those of you who don't know who the Swampers were, that was the Muscle Shoals, kind of like the house band that played for everybody and anybody that came through Muscle Shoals. And he's one of the original guys, kind of like the Wrecking Crew in LA, for those of you that don't know who the Swampers were. So,
In Muscle Shoals, they got the Swampers, and they've been known to pick a song or two.
two. Right on.
All righty then.
All right, guys, let's see Timmy.
Yeah.
Timmy. That cracked. I said, "What do you prefer to be called?" I goes, Tim or whatever. And he goes, "Well, my friends call me Timmy." Timmy. That's from South Park. Timmy.
Right.
Timmy.
That's right.
Righty then.
It's your jabs.
All right, this has been podcast 101. How about that? 101. The Stone Roadie Show. And like always, happy trails to you until we meet again. And may the good Lord take a liking to you. And until next time on the Stone Roadie Show, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
Alrighty then, looky here. We tried to go live here on the Stone Roadie Show. This is my buddy Timmy. Kathy Godsey told you about places you might find the Stone Roadie hanging out.
Stone Roadie.
I was coming out of the Giant Eagle. And
If it weren't for the Stone Roadies, I'd be fucked tonight. So I'm eternally grateful to the Stone Roadies.
I was coming out of the Giant Eagle, the pharmacy
Truth,
side,
facts.
and
I would drink a
I was
beer
kind of
right now.
I was kind of inside my own head,
Stone Roadies.
and I looked down and
Daddy.
somebody
Stone
said
Roadies.
something to me, and I
That was me.
and I just kind of blew them off, you know,
He did.
and I got my car and I drove up the road and I went, man, I don't think that guy had a coat on, and it's cold out there. And I said, man, I said, man, what if I
Guess
was in that
whoever is
predicament
Stone Roadies.
and I needed somebody just to help me? So I turned around, man. So I went back
He
to the
did.
Giant Eagle and pulled up to the curb. And I said,
Sure did.
man, you need something? He goes, what did you say, man?
A sweater or something.
Yeah. Tell us what you said. Come on,
A
Timmy.
sweater, man.
Yeah, sweater.
It's a cold beer I want.
And then what else did you say? You said,
I don't know.
oh, you said you was cold. I said, well, what? And I says, what did I say? I said, well, I don't. I said, what did I say? I said, I don't remember what I said.
Say you're
but-
Grandmaster from the Stone Roadies are
But
really cool band.
but anyway, so I said, well, come. I think
did.
I think I got something that'll fit you at my house.
You say that too.
So I don't live far from the
I
Giant
don't
Eagle.
go to people's houses.
So I was, I was gonna,
Stone Roadies in Memphis.
The more I had him in the car, the more I realized he needed more than just a sweatshirt, So we got to my house. I told him to come on in, So, I. This always happens. So go ahead, Timmy. Tell us your story. Hello. Hey. Okay. Okay, let me call you back. I'm sitting here. I'm doing a podcast.
Stone Roadies in Memphis.
Timmy.
Oh, well, it's Scuba.
Picked him up at the Giant Eagle. He just got out of
God damn it,
jail,
Bobby.
freezing to death at the Giant Eagle. So
Facts.
yeah, so I decided to do a podcast with Timmy.
Cold beer, Timmy.
Timmy.
Oh, hell, man.
Otto said, "Hey, Timmy."
Hey, Otto.
So I'm gonna take him down.
My name's
he wants to
Timothy
go down
Tim.
to Canton. I think he wants to go get
Shit drunker in
Doesn't
Canton.
crack y'all up. I gave him some money.
He
and he said, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go get some. I'm gonna go get some biscuits and gravy."
Already. There's my secret.
So
my
he said, so I gave him.
Parmesan cheese.
I gave him money,
Oh,
and I told him, I said,
What
man,
the fuck,
I'm gonna
dude?
go have breakfast with him. I'm gonna go take him somewhere to get biscuits and gravy and have biscuits
and over
gravy
easy eggs.
with Timmy. But,
We called him Dunkin' Ducky eggs.
yeah, but if I wouldn't have helped Timmy,
I've been fucked.
Timmy would still be sitting there at the Giant Eagle. It ain't
That's
funny,
true.
man. It's cold out there. He didn't have no
That's
socks
the
on.
truth,
He's
man.
no shirt. So yeah, man. But Timmy's about a 4X dude.
Stone Roadies. Yes,
And
sir.
I ain't got nothing to fit him.
Stone Roadies.
So yeah, well, I think maybe Coles or something is open. I take him down to Coles and get him something, but I had to get Timmy on the Stone Roadie show.
Stone Roadies in Memphis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, how about that, Timmy? Oh yeah.
Who will Scuba?
Yeah, he's kind of all right, man. Yeah, I'll talk to you later on about those, but all right, bye-bye. All right, bye-bye.
I fell in love with this dog right here just now. Right here on my leg. Look.
So yeah, anything else you want to tell us about yourself, Timmy?
Sure.
You said you were a rapper. Go ahead and give us some rap, Timmy.
All right. This is called a 30-second bar. That means 30 seconds of making lyrics off the top of my head, drunk. Ready? Only two people done it from the free throw line. Brent Berry and Michael Jordan. I'm feeling fine. This man, it's a grand wizard though. I say fuck 12. That's the law. They can suck my lizard though. Man, I'm intoxicated. At least at 3.1. Man, but Memphis, I carried a small gun. Potent though, parabellums, 380 with a laser sight. But a block away, I don't fight no more. I end this. I'm from Memphis for real. Stone Roadies. I ain't no little white. Stone Roadies. Is this alcohol? This is an energy drink, dude. It's disguised as a beer, man. But I'll never tell a lie to the Stone Roadies. Stone Roadies in Memphis. It's a beer.
Well, we wanted to go live. I wanted to go live with this, but I couldn't figure it out. And
Stone Roadies.
I gotta go. We gotta go down here to Kohl's or the Walmart or whatever and get Timmy something to wear, and then go get something to eat and find him a place to stay tonight. So, all right. Well, that's
Stone Roadies.
It was Stone Roadie live here Tuesday night. I think this is
Go beer.
Yeah, this is Tuesday
Stone
night.
Roadies in Memphis.
Tuesday
Timmy.
night. Stone Roadies found Timmy outside the Giant Eagle.
Sure did. Sure
Where
the
he'd
fuck
still
did.
be if I'd have let him there.
Facts, truth, man.
But yeah,
I'm grateful to Stone Roadies.
But you
for
know,
real, for real. I don't flatter them. You know what? If I didn't like the
Something-
Stone Roadies, I wouldn't be
something told me to
disrespectful.
turn around and turn
And he
Timmy
did,
now
man.
needed the help. You know,
And I found out he's awesome sauce.
sometimes you
Boy.
just do what
Need a
you
little help, man. Sometimes.
do what you feel you need to do, and that's what happened tonight. And I'm glad I did. It helped old Timmy out, right, Timmy?
Yes, sir.
So me and Timmy's gonna go and find him something to wear.
Stone
and get him
Roadies
something
in
to eat,
Memphis.
Find him a place to sleep tonight.
Well,
so.
Timothy's my name.
All right, y'all. Been nice.
Stone Roadies.
Until next time on the Stone Roadie
Stone
Show.
Roadies.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.
Que sera.
Oh, where'd my thing go?
Oh,
That's what fell. Oh, well. Oh, there it is. Ah. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Stone Roadies. Cool band.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep token until then. Yeah, the Road Stony Show.